Shalom and blessings, warriors of Yahuah in the truth, beloved daughters and sons of Yahuah. I believe we left off with Age of Enlightenment yesterday, and I should have just looked and seen where the bookmark was facing, then I would have known. But, okay, the Virgin unites pagans and Christianity. Or, pagans and Christians. Apologize. When Constantine built his Roman Empire, he solidified Christians and pagans under a plan that allowed them to freely worship. This unification gave birth to the Roman Catholic CHURCH, a mixed entity consumed with pagan and Christian characters combined so as not to offend anyone. Worship of Diana was transformed into worshiping the Virgin Mary. Mary's image and statues resembled Diana. The Virgin cult took on a new acceptable name of Mary, but continued its roots stemming from the original Black Madonna cult. This cult began before the flood with the Virgin Yahuah or Eve, who gave birth to the first mixed being, Cain, whose father was Satan. Worship of a human woman having a hybrid child from sexual union with a spiritual being continued after the flood. The cult thrived with Semiramis and her son Nimrod, who actually married each other. This was an abomination Yahuah never condoned between mother and son. A son is never to marry or have sexual relations with his mother, according to Scripture. Yet Ham and his mother did this to produce Canaan, whom Noah cursed. Nimrod and Semiramis called themselves God the father, and Goddess the mother, and God the son. Nimrod was both the father and the son. This same incestuous worship moved on to Egypt, or Mitzrayim, and was known as Osiris, Isis, and Horus. The Black Madonna cult in Egypt proclaimed Isis as a virgin, and her son was also her husband, as he had been cloned from his father. This black art of procreation was not of Yahuah, but has been through the ages referred to as the Virgin and Holy Child, or Kodesh Child. The reason names of various GODs and GODDESS's changed between cultures who were really the same was because after the flood, Yahuah confused mankind's speech at the Tower of Babel. People living in Babylon had one language, and were reestablishing a one-world worship of Cain's lineage, brought into existence through Yahuah or Eve and the serpent. Satan's lineage is where the cradle of civilization got their sacred sciences and architectural skills in order to build their tower in Babel in an attempt to reach the heavens and become gods themselves. Yahuah confused their languages, caused new names to be used that were based on the same culture. The scripture indicates Cain as being Satan's son, and it also says Satan was the first murderer, so he also became not just father of Yahuah or Eve's baby, but her son. Many atheists and pagans had tried to indicate Yahusha being born through Virgin Mary was a copycat of what Satan had already done, but Satan was cursed for it. In reality, Yahusha had to be born as he was to undo what Satan had done to humanity in the Garden of Eden. The difference between Yahusha's birth and Satan's birth of Cain are entirely different. Yahuah did not have a sexual relationship with the Virgin Mary like Satan did with Eve or Yahuah. It is important to understand Satan has used and is still using a deceitful connection to the Virgin Mary for his own purpose of continuing his Black Madonna cult under a new name. Satan's Roman Catholic Virgin cult is not really Mary, the mother of Yahusha, although most of the world does not know the difference, which is just what Satan wants. He mixes just enough information familiar to people in order to beguile them, just like he did to Adam and Yahuah, or Adam and Eve, in Eden. Out of Constantine's greed to become emperor of a united Roman Empire, he convinced the dirt-poor Christian bishop Miltiades into becoming the first Roman Catholic pope. by his willingness to add pagan elements to what he was preaching in order to build a wealthy following. Money was the root that brought the first pope to side with Rome and return to Miltiades' blessing. Constantine built him a beautiful Vatican to worship the Virgin cult openly in. The cult of Mary forever replaced all other female goddesses throughout Rome. If Constantine was not continuing to promote the pagan virgin cult through Mary, then why did he and Miltiades not venerate Yahuah only? Instead, they allowed their Roman Catholic CHURCH or circus to place images of Yahuah on Mary's lap, just as Egyptian idols of Isis have Horus on her lap. The son is always a baby or a broken man, while the woman is primary focus of all prayer and worship. Biblical scripture warns in Yahuah's first commandment that he is a jealous Elohim, and we are to worship by having no other Elohims before him, or gods. Praying to Mary, we would put the virgin cult before him, so it is unscriptural to pray to her. Constantine neatly repackaged Rome's evil virgin cult into the Catholic religion using Christian names. Promise of wealth enticed pagans and many Christians to go along with this mixing in the name of social unification, something we see happening today. It was not a Kodesh or Holy Alliance backed by Scripture back then, and it is not a Holy or Kodesh Alliance backed by Scripture today. In fact, it is the very alliance between a whore riding a beast that John or Yehukanan prophesied would occur before Yahuah returns. The whore is the mixed virgin cult riding a famous image or clone that is a beast, pretending to be the real virgin Miriam and Yahuah. Next time we will be reading the deceptive Gnostic Virgin of Mary Magdalene and Kings and Kingmakers. After that is Illuminati Control. So, and that one's a bit longer chapter. But the next two I'm going to combine. I love you all with an everlasting love, as our Abba Yahuah and the Shamayim loves each and every one of us. Shalom and blessings, warriors of Yahuah and the truth, beloved daughters and sons of Yahuah.